Revenge films.
I had to go eat dinner at my in-laws every month. I hated it there. Why? Because my husband's mom always did mean things to me. For instance, she always serves me cold rice on purpose. Needless to say, everyone else got a nice bowl of warm rice. I mean, why go through all that just to be mean to me? I guess she really hated me. I told my husband once, but
You're being paranoid.
he said, and she never put meat in any of my food. I didn't like meat, so I didn't care, but whenever she served shrimp, she left the shell on, and she always gave me the part with the most bones when she cooked fish. "How is it, Ali? Good?" She always asked with a big smile on her face. She always put eggshells in my eggs, too. It was unbearable. I tried talking to my husband again. "Can you do something about her? Please, she's always messing with my food."
You're still saying that? That's enough! She spends all day preparing food for us. All you ever do is complain.
But he was always on his mom's side. It was no use. I tried talking to him a few times, but it wasn't helping at all. I hated going there, but I had no choice. I was really stressed out.
Mom says to come over next week for dinner.
It was once a month, but still, I couldn't take it anymore. Hey, could you go without me next week?
What? Why? She said she's gonna cook for us. What's your problem?
Your mother! I just wanted to scream in his face, but I kept it to myself. I told you before, I don't like it there. I'm sure your mother wouldn't mind.
Just shut up and come. We're going.
I was getting pretty sick of my husband, too. Thinking about his mom and the food she served made me sick to my stomach. But I had nowhere to run. I was starting to feel ill, so I went to see a doctor. Then a week later, it was dinner night. I had no choice. When we arrived, she was cooking. I made us some pork cutlet today, but I ran out of pork. One of us will have to make do with artificial meat. Sorry. That's it. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I'm guessing it's me you're talking about. I bet it is. You know what? If it isn't, I'll buy you that necklace you always wanted. And if my husband gets the artificial meat, I'll do anything you say. Then I ate the cutlet in front of me. My husband and his dad had no idea what just happened. See? I was right! Artificial meat! Yay! It was a coincidence. I told you. Oh, is that so? I guess I'm just really lucky when it comes to your cooking then. Oh, I know. I'll buy some lottery tickets on my way home. I'm feeling lucky tonight. I tried to stay calm, but the rage built inside of me. My husband looked terrified. The food you cook for me is so amazing. The rice is always so cold and hard. And when you serve fish, you always give me the part with the most bones. You leave the eggshells in just for me too, right? Oh, and let's not forget about the shrimp shells. Oh, I'm such a lucky girl. My mother-in-law started shaking. Her husband looked appalled. I never said anything because I didn't want to make a scene, but not anymore. It's not good to bottle up anger like this, especially when you're pregnant. They all look surprised. When I went to the hospital the other day, I found out I was pregnant. I was going to be a mother. I had to be strong. My mother told me to stand up for myself, so I decided to take a stand. You're pregnant? Yay! She looked happy. It was her first grandchild. But then I laughed at her. Yup. But it's my job to protect my kids, so you'll never see them. I'm never coming here again. I'm going to go now. Goodbye forever. Then her husband yelled at her.
Is this true? What the hell's wrong with you?
As I walked out of the house and tried to get in my car, my husband chased after me.
Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?
Seriously? Why should I? You never listen to me anyways. Like that thing with your mom. I told you many times to help me, but you never did. I'm sorry, but you're no different than her. I don't want you to be anywhere around my kids.
Wait, where are you going?
I'm going to live with my parents. I told them about everything. They said to cut all ties with you and your family, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
What? No, wait!
I ignored him and drove off. He fell on his knees. I was going home to have my babies anyway, so I already sent all my stuff. And my mom knew all about the mean things my mother-in-law did to me, so she was more than happy to have me there. The next day, my husband came over to my parents' house. He got onto his knees and started apologizing.
I'm terribly sorry for everything. It'll never happen again. Please, forgive me.
He begged us to forgive him. It couldn't have been easy for him to come here like that and apologize. I decided to give him one last chance under a few conditions. 1, I never wanted to go to his parents' house again. 2, his parents don't get to see our child until I say it's okay. I got it all in writing too. And if his mom ever shows up unannounced, I was getting a divorce. And that meant my husband would never be able to see his child again. I told my husband to go talk to his parents by himself. They were so excited about their first grandchild, but when they found out about the deal, they were really upset. Why can't I see my grandchildren? His mom flipped out, but after everything that happened, my husband was now on my side.
It's your own fault, Mom.
She was all alone.
This is all your fault, idiot. I can't see my grandchild because of what you did. Go talk to her and beg her to forgive you.
I heard he stopped talking to her altogether. Good riddance. And even if she comes to apologize, I'm not letting her near my child. After that, there were no more dinner parties at his parents'. Oh, and my husband started listening to me for a change. I guess he learned his lesson when I went back to live with my parents. The baby was due in a few months. Not sure how long it'll take for me to forgive them, but we'll see. I'm just glad everything worked out.
I work at this really nice restaurant. Food was good and so was the service. The place was always full. And then one day, the son of the owner showed up. He stopped by from time to time, so I knew his face. He was pretty selfish and arrogant. He was always causing trouble at the restaurant. So whenever he showed up, all the staff was on high alert. That night, the idiot's son walked in and said, "Give me a seat." Then he walked inside with his girl. But the place was full already. "Sorry, sir, we're fully booked tonight and..." "Huh? What about that one?" "Sorry, that seat is reserved." "I don't care. You know who I am. My dad owns this place." I was scared to lose my job. But I couldn't just let him take the seat either. I didn't know what to do. Then the guests who reserved the seats arrived. "Hello, I've reserved the seat for two. The name is Johnson." "Mr. Johnson, we've been expecting you. Please, right this way." I tried to show him to the table, but then the idiot walked over to us and said, "Hey, you two, give us your seats." "Huh?" "Did I stutter? I said give me your seat." "Sorry, but no, we made the reservation weeks ago." Fine. Here, take some money, go somewhere else, okay?" Harassing the staff is one thing, but now he was harassing our customers. I had to do something. "Sorry, sir. But like he said, he made a reservation, so..." Stay out of this. You want to get fired. I flinched. Then he kept going. So, can we have your seat? Mr. Johnson and his wife looked upset. Who are you anyways? We booked this place weeks in advance. My dad owns this place, so that means I'm more important than you. Got that? No. I understand that your father owns this place, but what does that have to do with anything? Like I said, we made a reservation. You have no right to take our seat. Mr. Johnson didn't flinch. Sir, can you please just let it go? You're making a scene. Shut up, idiot! Hey, asshole! Who do you think you are, huh? This is my dad's place. You understand that? I'm more important than you. Give us your table. He started yelling. Things started to get awkward. But Mr. Johnson was still calm. Sir, please keep your voice down. There's no need to yell in a nice place like this. Huh? Shut the hell up! You better leave now! Mr. Johnson seemed really confident, and the idiot's son didn't like that. He was starting to flip out. I got between them to calm him down, but then someone struck him in the face. Ouch! What the hell? He turned around and saw his grandfather, the founder of the restaurant. Wow! What the? He seemed really surprised to see him. Then the grandpa started apologizing to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, I'm terribly sorry. Please, right this way. What the hell, Grandpa? What about me? Forget them. I'm your grandson. Shut the hell up, idiot. Mr. Johnson's grandfather was the one who helped me open this place years ago. What? No way! Glad to see you're doing well, sir. My wife and I have been looking forward to this all week long. Thank you, sir. Again, I'm so sorry about my grandson. The meal is on the house tonight. Please, enjoy your stay. Oh, it's not a problem. That's very kind of you, though. Thank you. Please show Mr. Johnson to his table. Yes, sir. I showed them to their table. Sorry about all that. We wanted to stop him, but... No worries. None of this is your fault. My grandpa was the one who helped build this place, not me, so I'm just a fan, that's all. Thank you, sir. I went back into the office. He was yelling at the idiot's son. In case you didn't know, this isn't your restaurant. I heard about the way you treated the staff here. You're not welcome here anymore. Get out and never come back. Oh, come on, Grandpa! The idiot's son and his girlfriend ran off. The founder went back inside and said to the guests, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm terribly sorry you had to see all that. The meal is on the house. Please enjoy your stay. Everyone started clapping. Then he went around apologizing to the staff. Guys, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with all that. I'll have a long talk with my son about this. Thank you, sir. He said everything straight for us. The idiot's son never showed up again. It was such a relief. He was always complaining about the food making a scene. bothering the other customers, so Laddie's gone. And as promised, the founder had a long talk with the current owner. Hey, I'm really sorry about the way my son behaved. I had a long talk with him. I kicked him out of the house. He'll never bother you guys again. Again, I'm terribly sorry. We were all really surprised by this. Everyone here was like family, and this incident only made our bond stronger.
When I was a kid, my parents and my sister left me. I had no idea what happened at first. I waited for them to come home. I stayed up all night long, but nobody came back. My grandparents found me crying at the house in the morning. Oh, Ali, you okay? Everything's going to be all right. I'm sorry it took so long. I got lost on my way here. Grandpa! Grandma! What's going on? We're here for you, Ali. Me? But what about Mom, Dad, and my sister? I'll tell you when you're older, okay? Just come with us for now. Come on. Okay. I was only in first grade at the time, so I had no idea what was going on. My grandparents lived in the countryside, so I went to live with them. They were both really nice to me. I made lots of new friends too. Life was good. Years later, when I was in 10th grade, my grandma told me what happened to my parents. Ali, I think you're old enough to know. Your parents, they got a divorce. It was the second time getting married for both of them. And since your sister was your dad's daughter, she left with him. Then... Wait, then why did Mom leave me? I'm her real daughter, right? Grandma went silent. She didn't know what to say. Then Grandpa said...
Your mother, she's a terrible person, that's why. She said she didn't want you around because you just make it more difficult for her to get married again. So, she told us to adopt you.
I was pretty shocked to hear that, but I was still grateful for the both of them. They took care of me for all these years. Grandma, Grandpa, thanks for everything. Oh, Ali, we love you so much. We'll always be here for you, okay? My mom left me, and that hurt, but at least I had my grandparents. I was really grateful for the both of them. But then, 2 years later, Grandma got sick and passed away. 8 months later, Grandpa passed on too. The night Grandpa died, he said to me,
Ali, go out there and live your life. Be happy, okay?
I had no idea why he was saying that. Then the next morning, he passed away. I guess he missed Grandma. He wanted to be with his beloved wife. I was sad. I loved them both very much. But Grandpa was devastated after Grandma passed on, so at least now they were together up in heaven. They loved each other very, very much. I still miss them like crazy, but knowing that they are together in heaven comforted me. Some of my relatives came and helped me with the funeral.
They always talked about you, Ali.
My uncle said to me, I was so happy to hear that. But then, some woman wearing a skimpy outfit barged in. It was my mother. Mom, what the hell are you wearing? Dad's dead, all right? We didn't know what to say to her. Come on, where's the inheritance? Gimme, gimme, gimme.
What? There's no inheritance, I told you.
Oh, come on, I'm her daughter. I'm entitled to at least some of his stuff. It's the law. Wow, I was speechless. I knew she was a terrible person, but wow. Did he give it to you? Come on, hand it over. What? No, I didn't get anything. Don't play dumb with me.
Stop this already. There's no inheritance.
Yeah, they raised me because you couldn't. There is no inheritance. What? Lame. I came all this way for nothing. She was my mother, but I just wanted to beat the crap out of her. But this was a funeral. There were lots of people here and I didn't want to make a scene. Listen, Ali, you can come live with me. I even got a job for you. Seriously? Why would I do that? Oh, but you have to. Otherwise, I won't be able to pay my debt. You're my daughter, just do as I say. You're not my mother. You left me, remember? Leave now. If not, I'm gonna call the cops and tell them everything. You'll probably be arrested for child abuse, you know? Everyone here will testify for me if it comes to that. Now leave. Ugh, fine, forget it. I'll be back, though. She ran off. I couldn't believe she was my mother. I started crying. My uncle comforted me. He said he'd take care of the rest. I was all alone in my grandparents' house now. I wanted to run away. I wanted to get away from my toxic mother. But I didn't have the money to do that. I had no idea what to do. A few days later, my uncle called me. He said he wanted to talk to me about something.
Listen, Ali, I gotta tell you something.
I couldn't believe what he said next. My grandparents were saving up money for me all along. They left their insurance money and the house to me.
They were worried about your mother. They knew she'd come and try to leech off of you. So they put it all into writing. They must have really cared about you. But she might come back any time. So, you should sell the house and move out of town.
I had no idea. I was so touched. I couldn't stop crying.
They weren't wealthy, so it may not be much, but if you sell the house and collect the insurance money, it should be more than enough to start over.
Grandma! Grandpa! Thank you. I couldn't stop crying. Thank you. Thank you so much. A few years later, I graduated from high school. My uncle helped me sell the house and collect the insurance money.
You can go anywhere you want now. But hey, come visit us once in a while, okay? Maybe during summer vacation.
I thanked my uncle and left town. I started a new life in a completely new city. I even got a job to save up for college. I heard from my uncle that my mom was still looking for me. She was trying to make me work to help her pay off her debt, but she couldn't find me. She finally went bankrupt and now lives on the streets. But honestly, I didn't care. She was dead to me. She can rot in hell for all I care. This is a story about the worst wedding ever. I was a college student back then. It was right before summer vacation. I was looking for a part-time job. Then my friend Ali said to me, "Hey, they're looking for some help at this wedding hall. They need someone this Saturday. Interested? It's a one-time thing, but it pays well." Sign me up. A few days later on the day of the wedding, something feels off. The bride and groom looked really good, and their families were enjoying themselves, but something was wrong. There were barely any guests from the bride's side. The table near me only had one guest. There were lots of people on the groom's side, but they were underdressed. They looked like they were on their way home from work or something. And none of them were paying any attention. They were all playing on their phones. some of them were asleep, and this one guy had his laptop open, and it didn't even stop after the party started. There were no entertainment or speeches. The MC tried to lighten the mood, but it was no use. They just didn't seem interested. And soon, the relatives started to realize that something wasn't right. They all started talking. At first, the bride and groom were smiling, but by the end, nobody cares about us. I wish we never got married. The bride started crying, and the groom didn't know what to do. Then the party was over. When I was cleaning up after them, I overheard the staff talking. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty, but wow. Talk about a tragedy! But I guess everything went according to plan. What do they mean? I was going to ask Ali about what happened, but she had to go home early that night. But I couldn't sleep that night. I was just so curious, so I decided to call her up. What was up with that wedding today? Well, you noticed, huh? You know, they told us it was gonna be ugly, but it was so much worse than I thought. What happened? Don't tell anyone I told you, but... Then she told me everything. The groom's name was Bob. He looked really nice and handsome, but the truth was, he was the devil himself. He was the type of person who would do anything to get what he wanted. He used to have a wife and son, but then he fell in love with his colleague's wife. He made up a bunch of excuses, threw his wife and son out of the house, and got a divorce. Then he invited his colleague and his wife over for dinner. He played the nice guy for a while and gained their trust. After that, he made up a bunch of stories to tear their relationship apart. To his colleague, he said,
"Hey, your wife keeps asking me to go grab a drink with her. You should talk to her."
Then to his wife, he said,
"Your husband was gonna throw out the lunch you made for him. So I ate it myself. I just called to let you know it was delicious."
They were all lies. But since they trusted him, things started to get awkward between the two. Then he made him in charge of a big project, making him work late every night. They were drifting further and further apart. He was trying to break their marriage, and it worked. Finally, the husband lost it and filed for divorce. Then Bob slipped right in and comforted her when she needed someone the most. A few months later, he proposed to her and she said yes. So basically, he stole his colleague's wife. I had no idea. Then Bob started harassing his colleague to make him quit. He didn't want them talking to each other, so he wanted him gone. He yelled at him every day and did everything he could to make his life miserable. And this was right after his divorce, so it didn't take long for him to give up and quit his job. But not everything went according to plan. After he proposed to her, they moved in together. But one day the fiancé saw Bob's phone. She found out about everything he did. She wanted to break it off with him, but she didn't want to make him angry. Who knows what he's capable of? She didn't want anyone to get hurt. So she decided to ruin the wedding to call off the marriage. First, she told her friends everything and told them not to come to the wedding. And many of them knew about how he had abandoned his last wife, so they didn't want to come anyways. Then she talked to his colleagues. They all saw what he did to the bride's ex-husband. They didn't want to come, but when the bride came and talked to them... Wait, so you want us to ruin the wedding, right?
Hell yeah, let's do this.
She told the wedding planner about all of this, so the staff knew about this too. That's why his colleagues were acting like that during the ceremony. They even thought about wearing mourning clothes to the wedding, but realized that was going too far, so they just wore clothes from work. The family members on the bride's side knew about this the whole time, but the groom's family was kept in the dark. It must have been living hell for them. After summer vacation was over, I went to school and ran into Ali, and she told me what happened after. The bride pretended to be really upset and told him she wanted to call off the marriage. Their relatives agreed too. The groom tried to fight it at first, but soon he gave up and agreed to call off the marriage. Bob was furious with his colleagues for the way they acted, but when he showed up at work, his bosses called him in for an emergency meeting before he could do anything. His colleagues reported him to the higher-ups. He didn't lose his job, but he got a demotion and got transferred to some dead-end position. Everyone thought he was going to quit, but he didn't. It was probably because he was up to his neck in debt. He had to pay his ex and husband for damages, and he still had to pay for the wedding too. At first, he said he wasn't going to pay for anything, but the ex lawyered up and sued him. After that, he finally gave up and started paying. Then, her ex-husband sued him too for damages. I heard he works 2 jobs now just to make ends meet. Oh, by the way, the bride and her ex got back together after everything was over, so glad it worked out for them. Anyways, I was still good friends with Ali, but one thing's for sure. I'm never going to help her with her part-time job again.
When I was in elementary school, there was this one teacher that bullied me. It all started when I criticized his painting in art class. I was just making a comment, but I guess he didn't appreciate that. He started harassing me in class after that. I never liked school, but this just made things even worse for me. Needless to say, I was getting lower marks on my tests. This wasn't good for him either, though.
Hey, do better. The principal is on my ass about you.
But it was his fault. He was the reason my grades were slipping. I tried to say something back, but then...
There's no room for you in this classroom.
Then he moved my desk and chair outside. He refused to teach me. Then, during lunch,
You eat here.
he set my lunch on the floor. He was treating me like a dog. I gripped my teeth and stared back at him. Then he said,
If you apologize to me, I'll forgive you.
but I ignored him and started eating off the floor. I guess he didn't like that either. The next morning during roll call, he skipped my name on purpose. And every time I put my desk back,
Get out of here.
he just threw it out in the hallway. It just went on and on like this. But I didn't want to be a tattletale, so I didn't say anything to my dad. Plus, he was a single parent, so I didn't want to worry him. Dad always told me, school's important too, but it's not everything. So he didn't really say anything when my grades started slipping. But my teacher kept harassing me. By the end of the semester, he was making me sit backwards in the corner of the classroom. He refused to teach me. Then it was graduation. The teacher called each of his students up to the podium to hand them a diploma. But he intentionally skipped my name. One of the teachers told him he forgot about me, but he just said,
Who? He's not in my class.
"What a jerk." I was so upset. I couldn't stop crying. Dad couldn't make it that day because he had work, but I was glad he didn't come. I didn't want to let him see me crying like that. I was in middle school now, but school was still pretty boring. I joined a local volunteer group / basketball team to kill time. We played basketball and cleaned up the city twice a month. I even made some friends. It was nice to do things as a team. I was starting to enjoy it. Then one of the members asked me if I could help younger kids with their schoolwork. Turns out, the volunteer group hosted after-school daycare services for kids with single parents and stuff. But I hated schoolwork. There was no way I could help kids with their homework.
Please, will you help us?
I'd love to, but I'm not good with schoolwork.
Well, why don't you come to one of our sessions, then decide?
So I decided to show up. There were lots of kids there. One of them said to me,
Hey, can you help me with this? Sure.
I helped him with his homework.
Thanks, you're a really good teacher.
He said to me with a big smile on his face. I was so happy to hear that. I decided to try harder in school.
Hey, could I have some money to buy textbooks?
I asked my dad. Here you go, good luck, he replied. It wasn't easy at first, but I studied hard day and night to catch up to my classmates. Soon I started going to school more often. I was now in 9th grade. My teacher knew one of my friends from the volunteer group. He said to me, Hey, I heard about you. You've been working really hard. I'm proud of you, son. I was so happy to hear that. He was the first teacher that said anything nice about me. And he was so friendly. He always said hi to me in school. We became good friends. Then one day, one of my classmates asked me,
Hey, you're really good friends with Mr. Johnson. What are you guys always talking about?
So I told him about the volunteer group.
That sounds cool, man.
Can I join too? I've always wanted to do some volunteer work.
Me too.
A few days later, they joined the volunteer group. I was making a lot of new friends. Life was good. Then it was graduation day. They were giving out prizes for students who excelled in extracurricular activities. I was sitting in my seat enjoying the ceremony just like everyone else. Then, out of nowhere, my teacher called out my name. I had no idea what just happened. I just sat there, stunned. Then one of my friends said to me,
Bob, get up there, go!
I had no idea why they chose me. I guess it was the volunteer work I was doing. They even wrote a small article about me in the local papers. And my dad was there too. He took the day off to come to the graduation ceremony. He seemed really happy to. When I saw his face, I couldn't stop crying. 2 weeks later, I was walking in the city. I ran into my teacher from elementary school. He was talking to one of the parents. I decided to ignore him and leave, but then he noticed me and grabbed my shoulder.
Hey, Bob, long time no see.
He was in a good mood. The parents recognized me too.
Hey, you're that kid. I saw you in the newspaper. Good for you.
He was in my class, you know. I knew he'd make me proud someday. I taught him well.
Oh, is that so? That's amazing.
Seriously? This guy was unbelievable. So I said, You kidding me? You made me eat lunch off the floor. And you always made me sit out in the hallway during class. You harassed me for years. And you intentionally skipped my name on graduation day. You thought I forgot, huh? You didn't teach me anything. The parents were shocked and speechless.
What? What are you saying?
He snapped and tried to grab me. Ah, there it is, the real you. Drop the good guy act already. He just stood there in silence. Ah, that felt so good. Then a few weeks later, he lost his job.
Turns out he was doing this to other students as well. He was most likely going to lose his teaching license. I was so relieved to hear that. Good riddance.
The other day, we had a lunch party at my friend Ali's house. There were 5 of us there. Ali, Blair, Casey, Dylan, and me. Dylan and I moved here from a different city. The other 3 were locals who grew up here. The day before the party, I got a new phone. I had my phone in my bag. I had a little charm my daughter made for me. After the lunch party was over, Dylan called me. "Hey, I found your phone on the street." "Huh? Really?" I checked my bag. My phone was gone. Oh dear, I must have dropped it. Thank you. No problem. This phone costs about $300, right? Just give me $100 and we'll call it even. Huh? What? You lost your phone and I found it, so a gift card would work too. I'll stop by your house around 7. Then she hung up the phone before I could say anything. Sometimes when you hand over a lost item to police, the owner gives you a cash reward. Maybe somewhere around 10%. But she was my friend. I didn't know what to do. I called up Casey. She's always kept to herself, but she listened to every word I said. Talking to her made me feel a lot better. And she said to me, "That's ridiculous. You don't have to get her anything. Don't worry, I'll be there too. I'll talk to her." I thought I should just pay her to get it over with, but I guess she'll handle it for me. Thank goodness. Right before I hung up, I said, I just got the phone yesterday. Just my luck." But then she said, "Wait a minute." Then she asked me a few more questions. The type of phone I got, my screensaver, the charm of my phone, my passcode, and so on. After she was done, she said, "This changes everything. We'll all be there. Is your daughter home too? If your husband isn't busy, ask him to take her to your parents' house or something. You might want her out of the house for this." What? I don't know about that. What if she talks about this in school? It'll just make things more complicated, you know? I guess she was right. I talked to my husband and told him to take my daughter to his parents' house. That evening, Ali, Blair, and Casey arrived at my house. Blair was excited. Ali was pissed at Dylan. Casey was quiet as always. Then Dylan showed up. The 3 of them hid themselves. As soon as I let her in, she stuck out her hand and said, "Hey, got my gift card?" Then the other 3 joined in. "What are you guys doing here?" Dylan was starting to panic. Then she said to me, "You told on me? What the hell is wrong with you?" I had no idea what was going on, though. Then Casey stepped in. "Let me talk to her. I'll handle this." Okay, Dylan. When and where did you find the phone? After the lunch party. It was on the streets. Oh, so on your way home? Yeah. Where exactly? Why should I tell you? Okay, different question then. How did you know it was her phone? You look inside? Well, I remembered the color and that little charm she had. I didn't look inside. Why would I do that? Hand over the phone then. Fine. Dylan took out the phone and showed it to me. Ali and Blair seemed surprised. That's not her phone. Yeah, she has a green phone, and that's not the charm either. It's her phone! You got a new one, right? And people change their charms all the time. She had a green one yesterday. I remember. Then she changed after. I don't know. Then Casey asked Ali, "When did you see her phone? You remember the time?" Around 5. It was after taking the kids to swimming school, so... So, she changed her charm after that. What's the big deal? So, you saw her after 5? What? No, but she told me. Is that so? But That's weird. I was with her the entire time, and I didn't see you with her. Dylan fell silent. And don't try to say you saw it either. She never took out her phone during the lunch party.
What? Yes, she did.
No, she didn't. Have you seen the color of her phone? I'd remember if I saw that. Oh, hey, don't take this the wrong way. Personally, I really like that color.
She took out her phone. I'm sure of it.
Is that true? No, I didn't get any calls, and it's not polite to use your phone at the table, so...
She's lying. Just pay up already. Stop being so cheap. Look, I looked inside her phone, okay? That's why I knew it was hers.
But her background picture was the default pic. It's not like it was a picture of her son, so that's a lie too. Plus, she locks her phone. How did you get past that, huh? Don't tell me you just guessed and got lucky.
Casey was closing in on her. Dylan was sweating like crazy.
You knew it was her phone because you stole it from her bag yourself. Come clean now or we're going to the police.
Dylan started crying. You're rich. Your house is huge. It's only $100. Stop being so cheap.
Then she insulted Casey for her level of education. Then she went on to insult her son. Casey finally snapped. She grabbed Dylan by the neck and threw her out of my house. Dylan was still screaming in front of my door, but after a few minutes she gave up. Then Casey said to me, "So what now? I guess there's no real damage done, but still, she did steal from you. Do you want to press charges?"
She didn't even apologize, and the way she acted was inappropriate. But I decided not to press charges. But I did tell her husband and his parents about what happened. After they learned about what happened, they threw her out of the house, and she had no choice but to go back and live with her parents. I heard they're getting a divorce soon. I later learned that Dylan and her family moved here a few months ago. They had to move out of their old place because Dylan got caught stealing. Her husband gave her one chance, but after what happened here, he was done with her. Anyways, with her gone, things were finally back to normal. I brought them to lunch to thank them for catching Dylan. I never thought something like this would ever happen to me. Well, I guess you can never be too careful. Anyways, I was so lucky to have a smart friend like Casey. She cracked the case wide open.
My wife and I wanted kids, but couldn't. We went through infertility treatment for 5 years, but nothing. My wife couldn't take it anymore, so we decided to give up on kids. But we were starting to think about adopting a child. Then, my cousin and his wife showed up at my house one day with their daughter, Allie. They had 2 daughters, but they neglected their older daughter, Allie, because she gave them the creeps. She was a bit different from the others. I noticed that too. This one time when I gave her a birthday gift, she didn't seem happy at all.
She's terrible at school, and she's always forgetting things too. I don't know what to do with her.
Before you adopt a kid, why don't you practice with her? Just pay us $10,000 and we have a deal. What? Is he selling off his daughter? What's wrong with him? Just as I was about to tell them to leave.
Thank you. We'll get you the money by tomorrow,
said my wife.
All right.
Cool! Then they left, leaving Allie behind. Why did you say that?
I felt bad for her.
Allie was a mess. Her clothes were dirty and so was her hair.
Hey, Ollie. Everything's gonna be okay from now on,
she said to her with a big smile on her face. But Allie just turned around and went into her room. At first, it wasn't easy raising her. I could never tell what she was thinking about. She had 0 emotions. I told her we should give her back, but she didn't give up on her. Then one day, she took her to go see a psychologist. The doctor diagnosed her with ADHD. Symptoms included hypersensitivity, lack of emotion, and inability to remember things. It all made sense now. My wife tried to comfort her, but when Allie heard the diagnosis, she said,
So, it wasn't my fault. I always thought it was my fault. I...
Then she started crying. At a glance, you couldn't tell that she had ADHD. This is probably why her parents were frustrated with her. She was struggling with this for a long time, too. She never understood why she couldn't do things like everyone else. Soon she started shutting everyone out. But after the diagnosis, she changed. She started working hard at everything. She practiced twice as much as everyone else. She still made mistakes and forgot things, but she kept at it, and that's what mattered the most. We were so proud of her. Then about 6 months later, something amazing happened. Every December, my wife went to this winter concert. I don't go because I always fall asleep. This year, she got 2 tickets though, one for Allie. When she came home, she said,
I've never felt this way before. I feel so excited.
She seemed really excited. Then my wife said,
Want to learn to play the piano?
She said yes. My wife was a good piano player, so she started teaching her every day. A few days later, she told me that Allie was a genius. Allie finally found her calling. She practiced playing the piano for hours on end. 10 years later, Allie was a famous piano player now. She was a genius, all right. But she still practiced harder than everyone else. She won countless awards. They even did a TV special about her story. She was feeling much better too. She didn't forget things as much anymore. But she said she still didn't understand how to be thankful to others. She knew the importance of saying thank you, but she didn't quite understand why. After high school, she started studying music in college. She started living in the girls' dormitory on campus.
I'm gonna miss you, baby.
Me too. She's all grown up.
Oh, Mom, Dad, stop it. It's not like I'm getting married.
Then one day when we were eating dinner, we got a visitor. It was a week before Allie left for college. It was my cousin and his wife. When the wife saw Allie, she said,
Wow, you're so beautiful. I heard you were struggling with ADHD. I saw it in the newspaper.
Yeah, you're amazing! You did it! We're so proud of you. I had a bad feeling about this.
So, we want to take her back.
What? Why? What do you mean, why? She's our daughter!
Yeah, she's our child. She's priceless to us.
I'm sure you've learned enough about raising a kid. Now you guys can adopt a kid like you always wanted to. We adopted her. She's our daughter now. Get out! I raised my voice. But then my wife said,
I'm really grateful for what you guys did. We couldn't have kids of our own, but you gave us the opportunity to raise Allie. But like my husband said, she's our daughter now. That's final. So please, don't come back here again. We're never letting her go, so I hope you understand.
Look, I get it. You want money, right? Here, we got $30,000 right here.
Like your wife said, she's priceless to us. No amount of money in the world is gonna change our mind.
You know how hard she worked to get here? Stay out of her way! Turns out their other daughter, Blair, was hanging out with the bad crowd. They said she hasn't been home in a while now. Then they learned about Allie in the newspaper. So they came over, hoping to take her back.
This is kidnapping. We're going to the cops.
Go ahead. But if you take her away by force, you're the one that's gonna get arrested for kidnapping. They looked furious, but they gave up and went home. Right after they left, Allie said to us,
Mom, Dad, thank you. You're the best parents ever.
Then she started crying.
Wait, Ollie, what did you say?
I get it now. So this is why people say thank you. I understand now.
We all hugged each other and started crying. It was the best thank you I've ever gotten. A week later, she left for Tokyo. One day she'll get married and start a family of her own. But even then, she'll always be our precious daughter.
The other day, my daughter came running out of her room. She was freaking out. She said she found a listening device in her room. It was a Sunday, so everyone was home. We all rushed to her room. She was right. Her room was bugged. I worked during the day, but my wife was a housewife, so there was always someone home. And all our neighbors were nice, too. And my wife got along with everyone, so I don't think she had any enemies. My daughter was in college, so she was pretty busy with classes and stuff. I had no idea how this could have happened. And I built this house half a year ago, so there weren't any loose windows or anything. I went out to the balcony on the second floor. I guess someone could have climbed up here. Did you ever have friends over? I asked my daughter.
Nope, my room was a mess, so...
Do you usually leave your window open?
Yeah. I leave it open most of the time to get fresh air.
I guess that's how the culprit got in. Maybe it was someone from the neighborhood. Someone who knew when the house was empty. There was no way they got in through the front door. And it's facing all our neighbors, so someone would have seen something. On the other hand, the balcony couldn't be seen from the road.
So, someone was in here? Creepy! I'm scared.
Yeah, I think they got in through the balcony. That's how they planted this bug.
I'm scared, Dad.
I looked around the balcony. It was pretty dusty. Then I found some footprints. I took some pictures with my phone. When I told them about the footprint, their faces turned blue. It's late. Let's just go to sleep. We'll go to the police tomorrow. And Allie, you sleep with Mom tonight, okay?
Where are you going to sleep, Dad?
I'll keep a lookout just in case.
You sure?
Yeah, don't worry about a thing. If you guys want, you can go stay at a hotel or something. Or how about Grandma's?
No, Dad. We're not leaving you alone here.
They ended up staying the night in the living room. I stayed in my daughter's room to keep a lookout. Needless to say, I locked all the doors and windows. But whoever did this, they can probably hear me. That was disturbing. But then I came up with an idea. First, I got some newspapers from the living room and started ripping it next to the mic. Then I started rolling up plastic tape. Then I got some bubble wrap and started popping the bubbles. Finally, I wrapped the mic with the newspaper I crumbled up and placed a fan next to it so it made a constant rustling sound. I wanted to make the guy think that the bug was broken. Maybe he'll come back to check on it. Then, in the middle of the night, I heard some noise coming from outside the window. I held my breath. Then someone cut the window and tried to unlock it from the other side. I jumped out and grabbed the hand. Yeah! What the? The man screamed. I got him now. I tightened my grip on his hand. You're not going anywhere, buddy. Then I yelled, call the cops! I got him! I heard my family waking up downstairs.
Mom! Dad called him! Call the cops! Okay.
The cops were on the way. The guy was still screaming. The guy was trying really hard to break free. But the police station was really close, so I knew they'd be here in no time. I tightened my grip even harder. Then the doorbell rang. I heard my wife screaming downstairs.
This way! Hurry!
They ran up the stairs and stormed into the room. When they turned on the lights, I was shocked. It was one of my daughter's classmates that lived in our neighborhood. The cops took him away. Looks like he had a crush on my daughter, but didn't have the balls to talk to her. So he bought a listening device online and snuck into her room. My daughter was disgusted. But then the next morning, his mom came to our house. First, I thought she came to apologize, but then she started yelling at us for reporting her son. What the hell is wrong with her? He bugged my daughter's room. We didn't know what to say to her.
This is your fault! You should have been nicer to my son.
She was speechless. Then she went on to say,
My son got arrested because of you. You gotta make this right.
Turns out he got arrested shortly after they took him down to the station.
I'm gonna sue you guys for damages.
You serious? This is all your son's fault. That's it. Get the hell out! Then I threw her off my property. She tried to spread rumors about us to the other neighbors, but nobody listened to her. Soon everyone started avoiding her. I hired a lawyer and sued them for damages.
What did we do?
She put up a pretty good fight, but I had a solid case against them. They ended up paying me a huge cash settlement. And so it was finally over. But my daughter said,
I don't want to stay in my room anymore.
I understood how she felt. But I just built this house, so I couldn't just move. So we decided to give her our bedroom instead. Then, with the money we got from the stalker, we removed the balcony. After that, everyone in the neighborhood started talking about them.
Look, it's them. You hear what his son did?
A few months later, they moved out, never to be seen again. And my daughter was feeling much better, thank God. I never thought something like this could happen in real life. I thought these things only happened in the movies. I increased the security around my house once again after the incident. A listening device was bad enough, but I guess things could have been worse. What if he had set up a camera and uploaded the files online? It's a terrifying thought. These days, if something like that goes up on the internet, it's nearly impossible to delete it completely. Anyways, I'm just glad it didn't come to that. I sure hope something like this never happens again.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.